What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another movie review. Today we are going to be talking about X-Men Origins Wolverine. I watched a bunch of movies over the weekend, so now I'm banging out all the movie reviews for you guys. And X-Men Origins Wolverine, we'll just keep this one short and sweet, shall we? Like 2009 X-Men Origins Wolverine, it just, you know, it was definitely a money grab. Hugh Jackman was the biggest movie star in the world. Wolverine's one of the biggest characters in the world, so like, alright, let's make a movie with him. Let's try and surround him around people that we all like. Lee Shriver, you know, Will.I.am. There's people in this movie that make this movie pretty good and, you know, rewatchable. But the CGI and stuff like that just isn't very great. You know, like the claws in this movie look terrible. They figured out how the claws look better in other movies, but this is definitely the movie where they became like full CGI instead of like props where like he's holding them between his fingers type deal. Like, I don't know, maybe it would have been CGI back in the other days too, because they had to make it come out of his hand, you know. But the way I see it, these movies are good movies because Hugh Jackman's great, and you know, and I actually like Origins up to a certain point, right? Like Origins is great when you see in him in this love story. Maybe I'm just a sucker for a love story, you know, like him and his wife talking about the moon and the Kuatu and Wolverine, how he got his name and shit like that, like. And then they show how his memory gets lost and how then in X-Men 1 he doesn't know who he is type deal. But this movie, the CGI claws look terrible. You know, like I almost liked them better with the bone claws before they were the CGI shiny. Oh, shiny. You know, like the Ray Donovan, Lee Shriver line in this movie. Like, there's certain people in this movie I like. Ryan Reynolds is great until they butcher him as Daredevil. Like, or a Daredevil. They butcher him as Deadpool, like that. Even that whole scene, they're just on top of this thing, and it's like the sky, like it just doesn't look very great. Like this, like the black lines, like he just got out of surgery. They sewed his mouth shut. Like, I'm surprised Ryan Reynolds even agreed to do this, which I know he didn't because they forced him to do it. But thank God, all these years later, we're getting this Deadpool 3, and we get to see the two of them together actually being Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, poor Hugh Jackman probably liked when he had his mouth sewn shut, but yeah, you can see from set photos that they're having a great fucking time doing this movie. And the only real good scene that the claws don't look terrible is when they're orange red hot and they slice off Deadpool's neck, and you're finally like, thank God this movie's over, they killed him. And then the post-credit scene, he's like, shh, and you're like, oh God, shh, maybe we should forget about X-Men Origins Wolverine altogether. I gave this movie 2 stars, you know, much like Fantastic Four and X-Men The Last Stand. This movie's probably slightly above X-Men The Last Stand for me. I like it more just because it's a solo, you know, you're focusing on Hugh Jackman. But the third act in this movie is just not very good at all. But the opening credits, you know, like I've always said, the opening scenes where you see him go from like a kid that terribly kills his parent, didn't even know it was his dad because he thought the other dude that he shot was his dad, but he ends up finding out that Victor's his brother. They go on the run, all of a sudden they're running, and then they all of a sudden run into military, and you see like World War I, World War II, World War III, and you're like, oh shit, this dude's been alive for a long fucking time. And then you realize what the character Wolverine is, and you're like, damn, this guy like just has been alive for hundreds of years, just with his mutation just not letting him die. Like, he just keeps kicking, you know, which is one of my favorite parts about the character. You know, he doesn't matter how much pain and damage he can take, he'll heal, you know. Like, it doesn't matter what anyone can dish out to him, he'll heal from it, you know. Like, even in like X-Men, or even in Wolverine, where the nuke goes off and he's like fried, and then you actually see him like a full fried corpse, and he's like, and then you see him like, oh my God, as he starts to heal back. And but like he doesn't not feel pain, he just can heal from pretty much any pain you dish out to him, which is insane. But 2009 X-Men Origins, it is what it is. Now let's talk about X-Men the First Class, because we're going to group in 2 and 1 for this video. X-Men the First Class from 2011, they did a lot of things correctly in this, right? Like, they did a lot of things like Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy as a young Patrick Stewart and a young Ian McKellen. I thought both of them cast as Magneto and Professor X was great. Nicholas Hoult as Beast, great. What they made Beast look like, yikes, what is this blue Beast? I actually prefer the first Beast a little bit better. But what I will say is that this Beast was, Nicholas Hoult was a better actor for the character, I believe, especially if they were going to go for a younger Beast. Just how the blue looks and how he looks with these glasses on, pretty awful, but not so bad that, like, no, it's pretty bad. But, he at least got to wear the yellow, a closer to yellow jumpsuit. They went back to leather, but at least it's not all black leather. They have, like, yellows and blues in there. Jennifer Lawrence as Raven. I really liked the original Raven so much more. How she looked was way better. Jennifer Lawrence as an actress, not bad, choice for the role, but just how she played the role, not very good, but that could be the direction she got on set. Kevin Bacon as the main villain, Sebastian Shaw, great. The story, pretty great. The black, or the red Nightcrawler, the Azazel, he's probably one of my favorite characters in this movie. A Nightcrawler character, but a bad version, right? And how there's one scene where he grabs a dude by his tail and he's like choking him by the neck, and the guy's pointing a gun at him, and he's like moving, like he's standing behind him all menacing, just kind of like ducking behind the guy that he's moving back and forth as this guy's pointing a gun at him back and forth, and the guy shoots his own partner in the head, then Azazel poofs away. I was like, oh, that's so bad. I was like, if there's a villain doing bad shit, that's some bad shit right there. Like, Azazel was definitely one of my favorites in this movie. In this movie, not as bad as X-Men Origins. I give it 3 out of 5 stars. For me, I didn't like that they were doing this reboot, but at least they didn't reboot and do a new Wolverine. I do love the one part in this movie, probably Wolverine's best line delivery. They walk in, they're like, "Hi, Charles Xavier, Eric Lenscher, go fuck yourself." And he's just sitting at the bar smoking a cigar, like, nobody's telling Wolverine to do shit. And it would have been great to see him, like, young, going back in there, but, like, I like that it was set back in, like, the 60s or the 70s, and it was, like, this groovy music. Your mutation. It's very groovy mutation. And, like, every time Professor X is flirting with somebody, like, it was just nice to see the characters, like, young and active than just in a wheelchair or, like, just, wearing a helmet and this black robes, like, and being menacing. Like, actually seeing, him playing with the quarter, like, seeing how he was, taken by the Nazis, his parents killed. Like, Eric Lenscher's Magneto story, origin, fantastic. Played by Michael Fassbender, even better. Like, I really enjoyed his performance in this movie. And he really, once he gets the helmet, he kills Shaw. Like, he's one of the best actors doing it today, especially when it comes to, like, menacing, evil roles. Like, he's playing a serial killer or an assassin. I'm not sure which, but it's in a movie called The Killer coming out later this year, and I'm so excited for that. The trailer I saw for that was unreal. And I was like, damn, Michael Fassbender, what? Like, wasn't he also in Inglourious Basterds? He was the guy that did the German 3, and that's how they got caught. He's just a great actor. I really like him. As well as James McAvoy. He's, one of the greatest young actors doing it today. If you've ever seen Split, he's fantastic in that. But that's my reviews. 2 stars for Origins. Not going to talk about that movie anymore, but X-Men First Class, we're heading into this new age of X-Men, but then we also are going to dip our toes back into the old age of X-Men, because we have X-Men First Class, we just did First Class. We're going to do Days of Future Past coming up soon. I believe we have to do Spirit of Vengeance, Ghost Rider 2 soon, so stay tuned for all of these, guys, and we'll continue this Marvel rewatch as we move along, and then eventually we'll get back into the MCU movies that are actually in the Marvel rewatch, and I think I left off on, like, Winter Soldier, so maybe that's a good place to pick back up after I finish all these movies, and then maybe I'll jump into some different movies, maybe after I'm done with my Marvel rewatch, I'll go back and maybe rewatch the Planet of the Apes, the old ones, the new ones, which ones I like better. I know the new ones with Matt Reeves, he did a great job on those new ones with what's his name? The guy that plays Caesar, does the motion capture. He was Gollum. He was Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis as Caesar in those movies does a phenomenal job. And the way that the CGI looks by the time they get to War of the Planet of the Apes, the last one, the monkey CGI, like, even though it's Andy Serkis underneath, the way that just this chimpanzee looks, walks, moves, like, the CGI is incredible. It really is. Woody Harrelson in that last movie, so good. But we're talking X-Men, so we'll have more Marvel movies to come. But comment below, what should I watch in the future? Are you enjoying this Marvel rewatch? Comment below. What is your favorite X-Men movie? Comment below. I am super curious. Or at me on all my other social medias. Links down in the description below. I'm Big Cam, and I'll see all of you in the next video. Peace.